The sun above Dusthaven was a pale, tired circle, shining weak light over the loud and crowded alien market. Traders shouted prices, machines hummed, cages rattled, and sand blew across the ground like small waves. Dusthaven was famous for selling old machines, broken parts, strange pets, and sometimes people who no one wanted. It was a place where the strong pushed the weak aside, and no one cared who got hurt. Near the center of the market, a small metal stage had been set up. On that stage stood a thin alien girl with gray-blue skin and glowing silver eyes. Her name was Lyra, though no one in the crowd cared. She had her hands tied in front of her, and her clothes were worn and torn. The trader standing behind her pushed her forward roughly. "Next," he shouted. "A useless one. No skills, no strength, no power. Cheap price, take her away." Some aliens in the crowd laughed. Others looked at her with disgust. A few just walked away because they wanted someone strong, someone useful, someone who could fight or work. Lyra felt her heart beat fast. She wished she could disappear. She wished she could run. But she knew she would fall even if she tried. She felt weak and tired, and she believed the trader's words. She believed she was useless. At that same moment, a tall human man walked through the market with two children, twins, a boy and a girl. The man was Jonas Hale, a simple farmer from Earthsoil Farm, far away from Dusthaven. His clothes were old but clean, and his boots were covered with dried mud from working in his fields. He came to the market only to buy spare parts for his old tractor. But the twins, Mira and Cal, had insisted on exploring. Mira held her father's hand tightly, but Cal ran ahead, pointing at glowing fruits, strange animals inside glass boxes, and machines that made clicking sounds. Jonas kept calling him back, but Cal kept wandering. The market was busy, full of smells and colors the children had never seen before. Then Cal suddenly stopped. He stared toward the stage. Mira saw him pause and tugged on Jonas's sleeve. "Papa, look." Jonas turned. His eyes narrowed when he saw the small alien girl on the stage. She looked terrified, shaking as the trader shouted insults about her. 50 credits, the trader yelled. "Take her and leave." No one stepped forward. Some aliens shook their heads. A few laughed again. Lyra looked around and felt smaller and smaller. Her silver eyes shimmered sadly. She did not cry, but her heart felt heavy, like there was a stone inside her chest. She had been passed from trader to trader, each calling her useless because she could not do anything special, nothing her species was known for. She could not glow brightly. She could not use energy, and she could not defend herself. She was a little spark that never lit. Mira whispered softly, "Papa, she looks scared." Cal added, "Why is no one helping her?" Jonas stayed silent for a moment. He had seen people treated like this before, long ago, in places he hoped his children would never know. He sighed deeply and walked toward the stage. The twins followed him closely. The trader noticed Jonas and grinned. "Ah, a human. Humans love strange pets, yes? Take this one for cheap. She eats little, works little, cries a lot." Jonas frowned. He hated the way the trader spoke. He stepped closer and looked at Lyra. For a moment, she lifted her eyes and met his. Her expression was empty, but in her eyes Jonas saw something. Fear, yes, but also a small question, a small hope. He could see that she expected nothing good. She expected another insult, another push, another buyer who only wanted to use her. "What's her story?" Jonas asked quietly. "Useless," the trader repeated. "That is her story. She is weak. Her abilities never awakened. Her kind should glow with power, but she does nothing, just a burden. Only 50 credits. Jonas looked at his children. Mira was biting her lip. Cal's eyes were wide with worry. "Papa," Mira whispered, "can we help her?" Jonas took a long breath. He had only planned to buy tractor parts, but he knew what he had to do. He reached into his pocket and pulled out 50 credits. "I'll take her." The trader smirked, handed him the code key to unlock her cuffs, and quickly turned to shout for the next item. He didn't care what happened to Lyra now. Jonas stepped onto the stage and gently unlocked her cuffs. Lyra flinched when he touched her, expecting pain. But Jonas moved slowly, carefully. When the cuffs opened, Her thin arms dropped to her sides like they were too heavy. "You're safe now," Jonah said softly. Lyra did not speak. She was not used to soft voices. She looked at Mira and Cal, who smiled at her. "Hi," Cal said with cheerful voice. "I'm Cal." "And I'm Mira," his sister added. "You can come with us. We're going home." Lyra blinked, confused. Home? She had never had one. She had been moved from cage to cage, ship to ship. Jonas wrapped a warm blanket around her shoulders. "You're coming with us," he said gently. "No one here will hurt you again." For the first time in her life, Lyra felt warm hands caring for her. She didn't understand why the human man was helping her. She didn't understand why the twins were smiling at her, but she felt a small spark of something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. As they left the market, the noise faded behind them. Lyra looked back once, then looked forward, holding the blanket close. She didn't know it yet, but this simple decision by a simple farmer and his 2 children would change her life and the entire galaxy forever. The ride to Earth Soil Farm was quiet at first. Lyra sat in the back seat of the old farm truck, wrapped tightly in her blanket. She kept her eyes low, afraid to look out the window, afraid she might be taken somewhere worse. Mira sat beside her, offering small smiles every few minutes. Cal sat on the other side, quietly watching her as if she were a rare, gentle creature he didn't want to frighten. Jonas drove steadily, his face calm. He did not speak much, but his silence felt safe, not scary. The roads outside Dust Haven grew wider. The sand turned into green fields. The wind felt cleaner, softer. Lyra slowly peeked out the window. She saw tall grass dancing in the breeze, wooden fences, and distant hills. It was nothing like the metal cages, loud markets, and harsh lights she'd known all her life. Her chest felt strange, tight but warm. When they reached Earth Soil Farm, Jonas stopped the truck near a small farmhouse. It was simple, made of wood with a porch and hanging lanterns that glowed softly. Behind it stretched wide fields, patches of vegetables, a barn, and animals moving around peacefully. Mira leaned closer to Lyra. "This is our home," she said softly. "And now it's yours too." Lyra looked confused. She didn't understand how such a place could belong to her. Jonas got out and opened the back door. "Take your time," he said gently. "You're safe here." Lyra slowly stepped down. The ground felt soft under her feet. She looked around, unsure what to do. Cal pointed at the barn. "We have animals. Chickens, 2 goats, a lazy cow named Plum, and a dog named Rocket. He's loud but friendly." As if hearing his name, a big brown dog ran out of the barn. Lyra jumped back, fear flashing across her face. Rocket barked once, then wagged his tail and sniffed her gently. "He likes you," Mira said. Lyra blinked. No creature had ever run toward her with kindness before. She slowly reached out and touched the dog's head. Rocket leaned into her hand. Something warm spread in her chest again. Inside the farmhouse, Jonas led her to a small room with a bed, soft blankets, and a window that looked out at the fields. It was simple, but to Lyra it felt magical. She had never had her own space before. She touched the pillow carefully, as if it might disappear. "This is for you," Jonas said. "You can rest when you want. You don't have to work. Not until you're ready." Lyra looked up at him with wide eyes. No harsh tone. No orders. Just kindness. At dinner, Mira and Cal talked excitedly about their day, the animals, and the funny shapes the clouds made over the hills. Lyra sat quietly, unsure how to join in. When Jonas placed a warm bowl of vegetable stew in front of her, she hesitated. "It's okay," Jonas said. "Eat as much as you want." She lifted the spoon slowly. The taste was soft and warm. Her eyes widened a little. She finished the bowl, quietly while the twins kept telling stories about the farm. After dinner, the twins wanted to show her around. They took her to the barn, where the goats tried to nibble her blanket. She stepped back in panic, but Mira laughed gently. "They won't hurt you," she said, guiding Lyra's hand to pet one of them. The goat's fur was soft and warm. Lyra touched it carefully, amazed. They showed her the fields, the storage shed, and the chicken coop. Everywhere she looked, life was calm. No traders shouting. No cages. No fear. As the sun began to set, the sky turned pink and gold. Lyra stood outside silently, staring at the colors. She had never seen a sunset before. She didn't even know the sky could look like this. "It's pretty, right?" Cal said, standing beside her. Lyra nodded slowly. She couldn't find the words to answer. That night, after the twins went to bed, Jonas knocked gently on her door. Lyra tensed, frightened. He noticed and stepped back a little so she would not feel trapped. "I just want to say good night," he said. "If you need anything, call for me." Lyra lowered her head but managed to whisper, "Thank you." It was the first word she had spoken since leaving Dust Haven. Jonas smiled. "Good night, Lyra." When he left, she sat on the bed and looked around the room again. The blanket was soft, the air warm, and there was no sound except the whisper wind outside. Slowly, she lay down. She thought she would not sleep. She was used to danger, to noise, to fear. But to her surprise, her eyes grew heavy, and she drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, she woke to sunlight on her face. She blinked slowly. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. Then she saw the simple wooden walls, the soft blanket, and the window looking over the fields. She was still free. Mira knocked on her door gently and peeked in. Breakfast time. Papa made pancakes. Lyra followed her to the kitchen. Rocket the dog walked beside her like a guard. Cal waved when she entered. "Sit with us." Lyra sat. Jonas placed a small stack of pancakes in front of her. She ate slowly, still unsure if it was all real. After breakfast, the twins took her outside again. They taught her how to feed the chickens, how to pour water for the goats, and how to call Rocket when he ran too far. Lyra tried everything carefully. Her movements were shy but eager. She wanted to learn. She wanted to help. As hours passed, Jonas noticed something strange, something gentle and unexpected. Whenever Lyra touched a sick plant, its leaves seemed to lift slightly. When she brushed her fingers over dry soil, it seemed to darken with new moisture. He didn't say anything yet. He wasn't sure what it meant, but he knew one thing. Lyra was not useless. She just needed a place where she could grow. And Earth Soil Farm was exactly that place. The days on Earth Soil Farm passed gently, but Lena never stopped watching the sky. She felt safe with the farmer, Joran, and his twins, Milo and Mara. Yet something in her heart stayed tight, like a rope pulled too hard. She had escaped the auction, but she knew her old owners, the syndicate, never forgot anything they believed they owned. One cool evening, she was helping Milo stack wood near the barn when she felt again, an old fear rising in her chest. Milo noticed the way her hands shook. "Are you cold?" he asked. "No," she whispered. "Just thinking." Mara came running from the field. "A ship passed overhead," she said. "Not a transport. Something else. It flew low." Lena froze. She knew exactly who that was. Hunters. She didn't tell the twins, but that night she couldn't sleep. Every small sound made her sit up. Every gust of wind sounded like approaching boots. She wrapped herself in the soft blanket Mara had given her, but her heart kept pounding. The next morning, Joran found strange tracks near the edge of the property. Not from any farm animal. "Did any of you go out here?" he asked. The twins shook their heads. Lena stayed silent, but her eyes were wide. Joran noticed. "What is it?" he asked. She didn't speak for a long moment. Then she finally whispered, "They are looking for me." Joran stepped closer. "Who?" "Hunters," she said. "The ones who took me from my home before the auction. They belong to the syndicate. They don't accept escape." The twins gasped, but Joran stayed calm. He placed a big hand on her shoulder. "You're safe here. No one takes people from my land." But Lena knew they would try. Before noon, it began. A dark, sharp-edged starship descended near the old cornfield, silent but heavy, like a shadow falling from the sky. The ground shook softly as its landing legs touched the soil. Dust flew around it. Lena stepped back, breathing fast. "That is them." Joran moved in front of her. "Go inside with the twins," he said. "Now." Milo and Mara grabbed Lena's hands and pulled her toward the house. She tried to tell them to leave her, but they refused to let go. The ship's door slid open, and 3 syndicate hunters stepped out. They wore black armor and masks that hid their faces. One of them scanned the area with a glowing visor. "She is here," he said. "The worthless one. We take her back." "Orders." Jorn walked toward them slowly, but with no fear. "There is no one for you here," he said firmly. The leader stepped forward. "Human, do not interfere. The girl is syndicate property." Jorn clenched his jaw. "She is not property, and she is not going anywhere." The hunters raised their weapons, thin staffs that crackled with blue energy. Jorn did not move, even though he was unarmed. He only stood strong, like the old oak tree near the barn, refusing to break. Inside the house, Lena watched from a window. Her hands were shaking so badly, she almost couldn't hold the curtain. "He will get hurt because of me," she whispered. Mara stared at Jorn, terrified. Milo grabbed Lena's arm. "We have to help him." Lena shook her head. "I can't let him fight for me." She stepped out of the house before the twins could stop her. The hunters turned their heads when they saw her walking toward them. The leader pointed his staff at her. "There," he said. "Come quietly, and we will not harm the humans." Jorn glared at the hunter. "You won't touch her." Lena stepped between them. "Stop," she said softly. "I will go. Just leave them." Jorn grabbed her wrist. "No," he said. "This farm is your home." She swallowed hard. "And they will burn it to take me back." For a moment, everything was silent except the wind and the hum of the hunters' weapons. Then Milo and Mara ran out to stand beside her. "If she goes," Mara said, her voice shaking, "we go too." "Yeah," Milo added. "She's part of our family." The hunters looked confused. "Family?" the leader repeated. "She is defective, useless, not worth defending." Jorn stepped forward again. "She is worth more than any of you can understand." Lena felt something warm rise in her chest. It felt like a spark, small but strong. The leader raised his staff again. "Move aside." But before anything could happen, an alarm blared from inside the hunter's ship. Another voice shouted, "Incoming patrol, local human security." The hunters stiffened. They had no legal permission to operate on Earth soil. If the patrol arrived, they would be arrested. The leader glared at Lena. "This is not over." The hunters rushed back to their ship. The engines roared, dust flying in every direction. Within seconds, the ship blasted upward into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. Lena stood trembling, staring at the empty sky. The twins hugged her from both sides. Jorn placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "You're safe," he said gently. "We're with you." Her heart was still racing, but now for a different reason. For the first time in her life, someone had stood up for her. Someone had called her worth something. And as she looked at the farmer and his twins, she believed it. Lena woke before sunrise the next morning, long before the twins or Jorn. She sat outside the house, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the fields. The night before still played in her mind. The hunters, their voices calling her useless, and Jorn standing strong in front of them. For so long she had believed their words. She had believed she was nothing. But last night, something inside her had changed, even if she didn't fully understand it yet. When the sky turned soft orange, Mara stepped outside, rubbing her eyes. "You didn't sleep?" she asked. Lena shook her head. "I kept thinking." "About the hunters?" "About everything." Lena looked down at her hands. "All my life I was told I had no worth, but you all risked everything for me." Mara smiled and sat beside her. "Because we see you. You help us. You care about us. That means something." Lena didn't know how to answer. She only pulled the blanket tighter and breathed in the cool morning air. Later that day, Jorn called her to the workshop beside the barn. It smelled of old metal and wood shavings. Machines, tools, and strange devices hung on the walls. "I want to show you something," Jorn said. He placed a small metal box on the table. It hummed faintly, glowing a soft blue. Lena stepped back. "What is it?" "A personal core scanner," Jorn replied. "Old tech, but useful." He tapped the box. It can read natural energy from living beings. She frowned. Why show me this? Because last night, Joran said slowly, something strange happened. When you stepped forward to protect us, the ground sensors on the farm reacted. They detected a sudden energy spike. The only source near them was you. Lena shook her head. That can't be me. I don't have anything special. Let's test. Joran turned on the scanner. A soft blue light rose from the device, like mist. Put your hand above it. Lena hesitated, then slowly lifted her hand. The scanner glowed brighter. A small tremor shook the table. The humming grew louder, like it recognized her. Joran's eyes widened. That's impossible, he whispered. The scanner displayed symbols. Ones Lena couldn't read, but Joran clearly could. What does it mean? She asked quietly. He looked at her with disbelief. You're not weak. You were never weak. You have a dormant energy core. A powerful one. Lena stepped back. No, that isn't true. The syndicate tested me many times. They said I had nothing. Joran shook his head. They either lied or they didn't understand what you are. She felt her heartbeat speeding up. What does this mean? It means you have something rare, Joran said softly. A natural core, not artificial. That is why the Earth sensors reacted when you stood up to the hunters. You triggered something inside yourself. Lena felt dizzy. She held onto the edge of the table. She remembered the moment she stepped between Joran and the hunters. Her fear had turned into a strange heat inside her chest, something she thought was just panic. Why would I have this? She whispered. We don't know yet, Joran said, but it is part of your true worth. Before she could respond, the twins burst into the workshop. Milo knocked over the grain bucket. Mara shouted. It fell by itself. Milo argued, but when they saw Lena's pale face, they stopped speaking. Are you okay? Milo asked. Lena took a shaky breath. I don't know. Joran gently placed a hand on her shoulder again. Let's go outside. Fresh air will help. They walked to the open field. The sun was higher now, bright and warm. The twins ran ahead, and Lena followed slowly. Try something, Joran said. Close your eyes. Think about last night. The fear, the strength. Lena didn't want to feel those things again, but she closed her eyes. She remembered the hunters, the way they spoke to her, the way Joran stood in front of her, the way the twins held her hands. She remembered the heat inside her chest, like a flame. Her heart thumped. Something under her feet shifted. When she opened her eyes, the ground around her was glowing faintly, as if tiny sparks of light were rising from the soil. Mara gasped. Lena, you did that. Lena looked down in shock. I didn't mean to. That's the point, Joran said. It's natural. It comes from you. Lena stepped back, scared of the strange lights. But they faded quickly, disappearing like dust in the wind. Milo ran to her. That was amazing. I don't want to hurt anyone, she said. You won't, Joran replied. This power responds to your heart, and your heart wants to protect, not harm. Lena felt something warm spread through her chest. Not fear, not panic, but something new, something strong. For the first time in her life, she understood that the syndicate had been wrong about her, deeply wrong. She wasn't useless. She wasn't empty. She had something rare inside her, something powerful, and it had awakened. Joran smiled at her. Lena, your worth was never something for others to decide. It was always inside you. The wind blew gently, lifting her hair. She breathed slowly, letting the truth settle inside her. She wasn't afraid anymore. The next morning, Lena woke to the soft sound of voices. She sat up slowly, expecting fear to return, expecting the hunters to be waiting outside. But the air was calm. Sunlight slipped through the small window. She could hear Joran talking to the twins in the kitchen. It felt peaceful, strangely peaceful. She stepped out of her room and saw the twins whispering excitedly while Joran tried to cook breakfast. Mara noticed Lena first and waved so hard her whole arm moved. She's awake, Mara shouted. Milo ran to her next. We waited for you. We didn't start eating yet. Joran turned, smiling. Good morning. I hope you rested. Lena nodded. I think I did. They all sat together. The table was full of simple food, eggs, bread, fruit, but Lena felt something she never felt before. She felt like she belonged at that table. She watched the steam rise from her cup and wondered if this was what a real home looked like. After breakfast, Joran led her outside. The sky was bright blue, and the fields moved softly in the breeze. There's something important we need to talk about, he said. Lena felt her stomach tighten. Is it about the hunters? Yes, and about you. The twins stayed close, one holding each of her hands, as if they sensed she needed it. Joran took a deep breath. The hunters will return. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will. You have something they want now, your core ability. Lena looked down. I know. The question is, Joran said softly, what do you want to do? She looked at him, surprised. No one had ever asked her that. Her choices never mattered before. She was always pushed, dragged, or ordered around. But now someone wanted to hear her voice. I don't want to run anymore, she whispered. I don't want to hide. Milo squeezed her hand. Then, don't. Joran nodded. If you want to stay, this land will protect you, and we will protect you. Lena's throat tightened. She looked at the three of them, this family that had taken her in, fed her, comforted her. But what if I bring danger to all of you? You already know the answer to that, Joran said. The twins nodded so fast they looked like little birds. You're worth the risk, he said gently. Lena felt warmth bloom in her chest, but there was still fear inside her. Fear of hurting them, fear of not being enough, fear of being taken again. She looked at her hands. I still don't understand my power. We can learn, Joran said. Together. The next few days were filled with training. It wasn't intense or harsh like the syndicate had been. It was calm, patient. Joran helped her understand how to breathe properly, how to focus her thoughts, how to feel the energy inside her chest instead of fearing it. The twins also helped, though in their own way. Whenever she grew nervous, they made her laugh. Whenever she doubted herself, they reminded her she wasn't alone. One afternoon, while practicing near the fields, Lena felt something shift inside her again. She closed her eyes and breathed slowly, letting the warm feeling rise through her arms. When she extended her hands, small lights, like tiny glowing dust, floated around her fingers. They didn't burn. They didn't explode. They just glowed softly, warm like sunlight. Mara gasped, It's beautiful. Milo jumped around her. You can control it now. Lena smiled for the first time without fear. I think I can. Joran watched her with pride. You see? You're not dangerous. You're gifted. Lena lowered her hands and looked at the family around her. Something strong filled her heart. It wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was belonging. That night, while they sat near the fire, Joran spoke again. There's one more thing, he said quietly. The hunters, they won't stop easily. But Earth Soil Farm has old defenses. High-tech ones from the frontier wars. If things get worse, we'll activate them. Lena frowned. All of this for me? No, Joran said. For family. The word hit her so hard she forgot to breathe. Family. A word she thought she would never hear for herself. Her voice trembled. Am I part of your family? Mara gasped loudly. Of course you are. Milo threw his hands up. We chose you days ago. Joran nodded. But only if you want to be. Lena felt tears in her eyes. She wiped them quickly, embarrassed. I want to. The twins hugged her first, nearly knocking her over. Joran placed a gentle hand on her back. You're home now, he said softly. Lena closed her eyes, letting the warmth of their arms and the crackling fire sink deep into her heart. For the first time in her life, she knew what safety felt like, what love felt like, what being chosen felt like. The hunters might return. The danger might rise again. But she wasn't alone anymore. She had a power she never knew existed. She had a place where she belonged. And she had a family, one that didn't buy her, use her, or judge her, but chose her because they saw her worth. The night sky shimmered above them, full of stars. And Lena, for the first time, felt like one of them.